Hey, give thanks for life. Give thanks for life. Chimney, chimney. Today my rise like the sunrise, my bright and my upright. No one can stop my vibes. But me no care who I fight. So you can say what you want to and do what you want to. It's no concern to me. I'm have my own vision, me dep on my own mission to rule my destiny. Oh, it's my day to do anything I want to.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. I hope you all are doing better. I hope you all had a beautiful weekend. It's your girl, the lovely Iraton, here on this topic called Let's Pop with Iraton. Always talking about redefining Africa and basically redefining Africans because I believe we cannot redefine our country, our continent in regards to if we don't take the step in regards to redefining who we are, changing our mindset, understanding who we are, understanding what our continent has. And today we're going to talk about African unity. Last time we were talking about reparations. Part one, we didn't finish that conversation. It was a very amazing conversation on reparation, the meaning of reparation. And I had a guest by the name Tom who was saying a lot of people don't really know or even understand what reparation means. A lot of Africans don't really know the meaning of reparation. But I'll have a guest joining me here in a few in regards to African unity. Also, reparation, it's also really important and why it's not really talked about in Africa. I know reparations topic always being mentioned in the United States, which is very positive in regards to it's a conversation that we should basically be talking about. But here in Africa, it's not something really they voice it out. And even Dr. Arikana really talks about this in her talks, her conferences. But thank you so much. I hope you had a beautiful, amazing weekend, understanding that you're beautiful, you matter. It's all about spreading positivity, spreading kindness like a confetti, understanding that you are the change you need to see in the world. You do make an impact in regards to everything that you're doing, whatever you are, in the little corner that you are, you can make an impact. Doesn't have to be you don't have to have like a beautiful amazing followers, but it starts with the position that you have, and with that it's always like a drop of water, as I say, and with time it basically creates an ocean. Kindly tune in on this beautiful channel on YouTube, on Instagram, follow us on all the social media, and also join this live, share, and remind people to join this beautiful conversation. And also download our app on Google Store and download it, or also live stream on Streamer. That's www.blackoutfireradionetwork.com. We're gonna get back into the music as my guest is ready to join us, and we're going to talk about Africa unity and how that can start, because I feel like if we start being united as Africans, that's when you're going to have beautiful conversation with the common. We all have a common goal in regards to our continent, in regards to who we are. Instead of fighting each other and supporting it, but supporting each other, that will make a difference. So please join me in this beautiful conversation, and let's talk about unity and also reparation.
It's my time, and I'll use it any way I want to. It's my life, and I'm responsible for every action. It's all mine, my day, my time, my life. I bet you're easing up, give me some reason, and don't invade my space. I'm in a different place, different face, moving on my way. So if you feel like a champion, then nothing can go wrong. This one is a song. Hey, shoot away your troubles, put away your worries, help me sing along. Oh, it's my day, do anything I want to. It's my time, I use anywhere in life, and I'm responsible for every action. It's all my day, my time, my life. Feeling alive, and nothing can stop me. I don't care what they think or say about me. Look outward, here we come, and running. And what I'm saying is, it's my day to do anything I want to do. It's my time, I will use it any way I want to. It's my life, and I'm responsible responsible for every action. It's all
I
my,
in my
my
life.
life. Give thanks for life.
I'm gonna pull out that song. It's a very empowering song in regards to, you know what, being positive, follow your dreams, remember who you are, and also kindly join us this beautiful conversation right now, this beautiful afternoon. Remember, you are the change you need to see in the world. You matter. You do make a difference. You do make an impact. But that song I'm gonna pull up as you guys join this conversation in regards to African unity and reparation.
Give thanks for life. Give thanks for life. Humility, humility. Today we rise like the sunrise, so bright and we're upright. No one broke my fight. I'm in the fear who I fight. I know I criticize. I'm on higher heights. So you can say what you want to and do what you want to. It's no concern to me. I'm out my own vision, I'm up on my own mission to rule my destiny. Oh, it's my day to do anything I want to. It's my time, and I'll use it any way I want to. It's my life, I'm responsible for every action. It's all mine, my day, my time, my life. Easing up, give me some reason up, and don't invade my space. I'm in a different place, different face, moving on my way. So make you feel like a champion and nothing can go wrong. This one is your song. Hey, so all your troubles, put away your worries, help me sing along. Oh, it's my day to do anything I want to. It's my time, I'm gonna use it any way I want to. It's my life, and I'm responsible for every action. It's all mine, my day, my time, my life. Out there, feeling alive, feeling alive, and nothing can stop me. I don't care what they think or what they say about me. Look how good, here we go. And all I'm saying is, it's my day to do anything I want to. It's my time, and I use it any way I want to. It's my life, and I'm responsible for every action. It's all mine, my day, my time, my life. Give thanks for life. Give thanks for life. Give thanks for life. Give thanks for life. Sing it, sing it. Oh,
Mhm.
oh yeah.
Good afternoon, good morning actually, and good afternoon to everybody joining us again. Thank you for joining us this beautiful, amazing afternoon. It's always a great time to be alive. Remembering that you are the change you need to see in the world. It's always about redefining Africa as we redefine Africans here on Let's Pop with Iritan, and the topic is Africans unity and also in reparation. We were having that conversation last Friday with Tom, and we talked about reparation. We didn't have a say in regards to that because you were saying that we have to have unity first before we start talking about this. But I definitely agree with him. But also, it's good to have this conversation about reparation, which really a lot of Africans don't really understand even the word reparation means. But it's such an amazing time to be here. Thank you. Comment, share your opinion in regards to this. And I have a guest who is with me today at last. So I'll definitely let him introduce himself, and maybe we can definitely listen to a short little tiny podcast of Charlemagne talking about reparation, and also Dr. Ari Kamner talking about African unity and the importance of it. And we're going to have our take in regards to that conversation. Good afternoon. How are you doing? Can you hear me? I can hear you. Your volume is low. Okay. But thank you so much for
Yeah,
joining
can
us
you hear
here
me?
this. Okay, you're better. Good afternoon. I'm sorry, Gara, network is a bit low, but he's gone. But I think he'll be back in regards to that short bleeps. But we'll be talking about the African unity, and which is a very important topic because we're supposed to be united to have a common goal in regards to redefining our countries. Let me talk about Kenya first because it's part of Africa. There you go. Good afternoon. Yeah, your volume is gone again. Hopefully, this is gonna work. Can you hear me though? Can you hear me? I cannot hear you at all. So I think I'm just gonna share this video with Doctor. I cannot hear you at all. Your volume is. It was okay the time you're setting it up, and then you disappeared again from afar because our volume is up. It's like all the way up. Do you mind increasing the volume of your phone maybe or your computer? We can't hear, like we can't hear what you're saying, but we can just hear glimpses of your voices, of your voice. I'm sorry, no, I'm saying voices, but thank you guys for joining us this afternoon. On the other side is Leslie Jr., George Jr. I think he's having an issue with his connection. Hopefully he'll be able to fix it because you'll have a beautiful conversation in regards to Chalamet talking about reparation and also Dr. Arikana talking about how we'll definitely unify the continent or the kind of countries in individuality countries, Kenya, Congo, name it. But basically she's talking about African unity. But I'm going to share a video of Chalamet talking about reparation and his take on that. We had a topic last time with our guest that I had, Tom, and he said first we have to be unified before we talk about this thing. And I feel like there's a lot of topics about reparation being talked and voiced out in the States, which is we don't see a lot of that here in Africa, but I feel like people don't really understand the meaning of the word fast because as we say, it's a little bit of being ignorant. But reparation, as we talked about, is the action of making amends for a wrong that one has done, or by providing payment or other assistance to those who've been wrong. So I'm going to repeat that again for those who do not understand the meaning of reparation is the action of making amends for a wrong one has done by providing payments or other assistance to those who have been wronged. I think it's back again.
I think it
Yeah,
should be better,
that's
but I
better.
can't.
Yeah, that's really better. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I don't
Yeah,
think I can hear you very well, but I'll try to. So how you
you
doing?
can hear. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, but the volume is quite low. I think we're just doing what we have, but it's quite low.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for joining us here on Let's Swap. I know I had to push you to come. I thank you for showing up on this beautiful conversation about reparation, which you're supposed to join us on Friday. But I really wanted to hear your take on reparations in regards to if you definitely agree with it or how do you view it, because we don't really talk about it here in Africa mostly. It's a conversation that is really voiced in America, which is a beautiful, amazing thing, the perfect topic in regards to what you're talking about. But in Africa, we don't see a lot of people talking about it or voicing it out as the way it's so open in the United States.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Unfortunately, the audio is not so great, so I don't know if you guys can hear me because I can actually barely
Yeah,
hear you correctly.
I'm so
Um,
sorry. I can hear you.
yeah, I have to kind of focus
Mm-hmm.
to get it. Yeah, thank you for having me
Okay.
again on your show. It's always a pleasure for me to hop in and offer my 2 cents, or should I say 2 shillings of advice, um, or 2 shillings of what my take is on certain things. So, talking about reparations. Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing, but honestly, at the same time, I do think we are we are shooting at the wrong birds at the moment. Like I think I okay, let's give a hypothesis. So
Okay.
yeah, we've received reparations,
Okay.
$1 billion, shares in
Mm-hmm.
Nestle, whoever these people that enslaved us, all these companies and people. What do you do
Mm-hmm.
with it? What do you do with it? Like, let's say you've received like $1 billion per se, like Germany
Mm-hmm.
paid back to Namibia. What do you do with that?
Mm-hmm. As
It's
an
a question. What
individual
do
or
you do with it?
as a country,
Yeah, yeah. As a country, what do you do with it?
there's a lot I think
Because
that can be
people
done.
are trying to focus.
Uh-huh.
People are trying to. I don't
Infrastructure.
really know. Like, the volume is quite low. I really
Uh-huh.
wish I could hear you correctly. Yeah, but people are trying to
Oh my God.
focus on, for me, what I think is
Mm-hmm.
misaligned priorities at the moment. And why will I
Mm-hmm.
say misaligned priorities? Is because our problem at this moment is not money. It's not
Right.
reparations. Africa's problem is not money. If our problem is money, we wouldn't have African presidents staying in Switzerland, Geneva, with millions of dollars
Right.
being spent every day on, you know, you know what I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
say. And so I think if we pay, if we even if we are giving reparations at this moment, I think it's such an ill time for it, because first of all, the money will get lost. The money will probably just travel straight from the USA into some shell account in the Caymans or the Bahamas, or anything. Africa itself has a problem, and Africa's problem has nothing
Right.
to do with money. So I preparations, yes. Now, no.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are lots of things we need to fix before we can even get to that point in saying. And even if Africa is supposed to ask for reparations right now, you have to
Yeah.
understand the geopolitical. You have to understand the geopolitical space, and you need to understand how world power works. World power, just like
Right.
every power, works on who is the strongest. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
if you and I have a negotiation, right, and the world is not fair, get used to it. If you
Mm-hmm.
and I have a negotiation, and I can literally
Right.
beat the shit out of you, you really think I'm gonna pay
Mm-hmm.
you? You really think if I owed you money
Right.
and I know there's nothing you can do to me, you really think I have any obligation to pay you? And even if I'm to pay you, would I pay you what you deserve?
Mm-hmm.
No,
Right.
no. We can't even dictate the terms. What do you say reparations? What are they for? What is our bargaining chip other than sympathy on the negotiation table?
Mm.
What are we holding at stake? What do we control that can manipulate the conversation? Nothing.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Nothing. At this stage, nothing. So even if we're getting reparations, are we even gonna get what we truly deserve?
Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely no. So for me, we're just backing at the wrong tree at this moment. Yeah, that's my 2 cents.
So basically, you think in regards to people really talking about it, you your thought to this is like it's still not gonna help us, but will it at least um, mend the wound? Maybe because in
I think
regards
your
to
volume is quite low. I'm trying to. I'm,
my volume is quite low.
I'm trying so hard. I'm trying so hard to get it.
Can you
Um.
hear me now?
Okay. I think I know what I'm gonna do, but no, it's not gonna work. I can't really hear you correctly. It's just really low. Maybe can I hop off for a minute and just try to check on the audio thing and I'll jump back
Yeah,
in?
sure. Definitely. Yeah. I'll play a short video in regards to reparation as you check on that, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I'll check. I'll check in a minute.
Okay.
Last month, the Biden administration said, speaking of money, they want to study reparations, study it. Descendants of slaves for unpaid labor by their ancestors, Jen Psaki, the press spokesman, said, we'll see what happens in the legislative process. I'm curious where you are on this issue. I mean, there's a collective guilt that's asking individuals to recompense.
All right, guys. And network is
Unpaid labor by their ancestors, Jen Psaki, the press spokesman, said, we'll see what happens in the legislative process. I'm curious where you are on this issue. I mean, there's a collective guilt that's asking individuals to repent. I think that's how we would frame that.
Listen, I think reparations has to happen for black people. You know what I mean? Because slavery was America's original sin. And I really don't think no good is going to come to this country until they atone for their original sin, which was slavery. I mean, my ancestors literally built this country for free. So when you see all of this money being thrown around, you know, $27 trillion in national debt, 1.7.
Leslie's take was that even though we're talking about reparation, he says that it will not really make a difference. But for me, I definitely, I'm not in concurrent to that. I believe at least it's going to make a difference in regards to what was done back in history. That was a lot of mental pain. It was a lot of hard torture. So, and the fact that Chalamet says that America was built with the history in regards to what happened with the African people. They're the ones who built America, the ones who built this world in regards to their sweat and blood. So I feel like it's definitely going to make a difference. It's not going to heal the wound, but it's going to make a difference at least, because there's also a lot that is going on even right now in the African community, also in different part of the world, how they are treated, how they are seen. And everything has been a lie, because we know we are as African, we are the beginning and the end. And the fact that there was that intimidation, everything has been downsized in regards to making us look like the bad people, and the intimidation. That's what happened. And that's what we're taken to slavery. And that happened a few years ago, but still the pain there. And I feel like it can never be mended. It can never be forgotten. So definitely reparation makes a difference. It can make a difference. It's not going to heal the wound, but it's going to definitely make a difference in regards to it being paid. And I believe what Chalamet is going to say right now is going to make sense, because even though Leslie says that it's not going to make a difference, I believe like right now there's a lot of ignorance in the African people or African community. That is so true. As I said earlier, most of us, we don't even understand the word reparation, don't even know what that means. But if we start being open-minded and learning about who we are, learning about our culture, learning about who we are, what we have, the power that we have, learning about what our continent carries, I think that's when everything is going to tick, and that's when we're going to be woke in regards to the power that we have. So let's listen to what he's saying right now.
$7 trillion for failed F-35 fighter jets.
$500,000 for dogs.
$500,000 for fucking dogs. It's like, if you're black in this country, you have to be like, well, what the hell is up with us? You know what I mean? So for me personally,
but again,
I don't even see what the issue is.
That's the collective guilt. But white people are saying, I didn't do it. And my ancestors didn't even do it. And you are not your ancestors. That's
I'm a descendant of those ancestors.
I know, but okay.
Hey, listen, when a debt is old, a debt is old. Period.
But you've got a lot of money, so you say you should get more.
Should I get more?
Well, no.
That was not right. Like, you got money, but that's why he's speaking about it, because it's basically not even about the money. It's about the really giving a public apology, which has never been done, and also I've never seen a public government conference in regards to like what happened, what they did to the African people, or even inquiring about the amount or the percentage in regards. I've never seen that. So it's not even about having the money. That really counts. But the fact that Bill Maher is asking Chalamet, like, you have money, why do you think you need more? Like, not exactly. It's not about the money. It's about the concept and the action in regards to paying the reparation, which will make a difference to a lot of African people.
You should get a check.
Yes, I'm 97% West African, born in Charleston, South Carolina, so I should definitely get a check. But if it's to the point where, you know what, you make too much money, we don't think you deserve it, cool, give it to somebody who needs it. But to act like black people in this country don't deserve reparations is absolutely nuts to me. Hey, this is what I want. Put it like this, America, just treat black people like they're F-35 fighter jets. You had $1.7 trillion to throw at that bullshit. Throw it at the people who actually built this country.
But
I don't see how anybody can dispute that.
But again, you didn't build this country.
So what?
You personally did.
So what? I'm a descendant.
But I'm saying we can't write a check to a ghost. You know.
Why not?
Why not? Because
especially when the ghost's descendants are still
that's a descendant
here.
Okay.
That's not even not right to say literally. You can say you can write a check to a ghost. Like, the African people in the United States, we are here. We're not ghosts. Like, we're the descendants of the forefathers who went through this, who fought for the. Literally, it's not a ghost. Literally.
Listen, let me ask you a question. How do you right the wrong of slavery then?
Well, I mean, I think reparations can come in many forms.
Why not? Cash is king. It's America.
No, I agree. I mean, I think reparations do come in many forms. So we should be spending much more on the schools that serve black children. We should be spending much more on the infrastructure in predominantly black communities. We should be doing all sorts of things to close the opportunity gap, which is enormous and which we've done a terrible job closing. A debt is owed, and that's one of the ways you repay it.
Simple as that.
The problem I have with the reparations conversation is the questions you were asking a moment ago. It's practically a non-starter. I mean, in terms of practicality, no one's going to agree on the terms. No one's going to agree exactly on the eligibility criteria. Nobody's going to agree on the amount, and it's politically very unpopular. And while we're talking about something that I don't think is passable, and that's why Obama didn't talk about it well.
Why is it not passable, though?
What?
Why is it not passable?
Look at public opinion polls. It's just not going to get done. And that's not about the merits. That's about the appeal out there. And in the meantime, there's so much we can and should be doing that could be called reparations about the debt we owe.
Well, let's change the name. Call it economic equity packages. Whatever it is, as he said, a debt is old.
You could say Obamacare, which helped black and brown people way more than white people. Obviously, all people can sign up for Obamacare, but that is the practical effect of it, is a form of reparations. I mean, there's a tax that everybody pays. I don't think it's capped.
But I feel like, should it be, I think I was asking this question, I was talking on Friday, we were having this conversation with Kate, like, should it be a continuous payment, or should it be a one-time thing, literally? Because when they're talking about the Obamacare, not really, honestly.
Rich people pay more. Those kind of solutions are different. I mean, can I listen to me what Glenn Larry says? He says, It frames the moral claims African Americans legitimately have in the wrong way. The idea this debt can be paid is a terrible idea. That's his.
Once again, it's white people not wanting to be held accountable.
Well, that's a black person.
Well, he's okay. A black person.
Glenn Larry said that.
Okay, what's his name?
Glenn Larry. You know Glenn Larry.
Well, I just think that it's a debt that is owed to black people in America. Simple. And I'll ask the question, if y'all don't think it should be cash, what should it be? If y'all don't think if there should be any reparations to black people, what should it be?
All right. So.
Sorry about our network, guys, but I can see, thank you so much, Jiba, for joining us this beautiful afternoon. Better, you said it is about the money. If a white man's dad worked for GM and the GM owed him money after he died, they'll sue GM for that money. I definitely agree with you. Bill Clinton gave the US false apology for slavery in the 90s. Definitely agree with you that. Okay, whites receive 76% of all federal welfare payments. Wow, really? I didn't know that, Jiba. But thank you so much. That's a lot, literally. Thank you for joining us again, Leslie.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Can you
Can you
hear
hear
me?
me this time? Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
I
hear
can hear
you.
you. Okay, well, that's better. Thank you
Ah,
so much for joining us.
thank you. I had to
Yeah,
put on
doing better?
this ridiculous
Yeah.
headphones. Yeah. It's quite good. It's quite good. I can hear you clearly.
Okay, good. I was sharing the video with Shalami. Was having this conversation about reparation, and right, I definitely hear you, Java. But he was basically conversing about the need for reparations, Jeba. So I think maybe we can take that, at least the fact that he was trying to talk about reparation, why the importance it is. But lastly, you're saying it should be a conversation, which is very like interesting. Like, why would you say that?
Well, I think in terms of the dynamics, like I always say when I come on the show, can you hear me? Just to make sure you get what I'm saying.
Yes, yeah, I can hear you.
Oh,
I can hear you.
okay, great. So I always say it, I'm saying in terms, I'm not saying it should be kind of a conversation and a discussion. Maybe the African community in the United States, it has the framework and infrastructure to collect these reparations and do the rightful needed with it. I'm not very versed with that community, so I am not the best person to
Right.
comment on it. I think I was
Okay.
commenting based on the part of Africa, Africa which I know, Africa which I've
Okay.
grown in,
Of course. Of
Africa that
course.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Africa, first of all, is even ready for that conversation. And
Mm-hmm.
having that conversation right now for me is just plain stupid for Africa because number
Uh-huh.
one, for you to have a conversation that involves payment, it becomes a negotiation. There is no conversation on
Mm-hmm.
money. Money is a negotiation. And in negotiations,
Mm-hmm.
there is something they call bargaining, bargaining power, right?
Mm-hmm.
For you, if I had to get something from you, or we had to get into a certain business, and then we have to
Okay.
kind of come to a place is we have to bargain, right? So if I had
Right.
something that I bring to the table that you value a lot, that's what
Yeah.
you're gonna exchange
Mm,
what you're bringing in. But at the moment,
right.
Africa brings only one thing to the table: sympathy.
Mm-hmm.
We are all saying, "Oh, because this happened. Oh, because this happened. Oh, because we were stolen." True. All these atrocious things
Yeah.
happened,
That is
right?
true.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
where have we placed ourselves on? We are not even on the table. How can you have a conversation from outside? We are not in the table. We're neither
Right.
in the UN. In the UN, we have nothing. When an African president is speaking at the UN, no one is listening. He's speaking to cheers and bare
Right.
bones. Nobody's listening. We have nothing. Our presidents travel to other countries. They get welcomed like village
Right.
chiefs. Nobody respects them. You really think I'm going to negotiate with someone I have nothing to lose to them? And I know the whole
Right.
conversation is going to come, oh, you have resources, you can do that. No, as it stands, these resources belong to us, but not of us.
Mm-hmm.
We are not controlling it,
Right. Right.
right?
I
Right.
definitely agree with you on that.
So first of all, so if we are, it's such a stupid time. Like Suzu said in the Art of War, if you know yourself and you know the enemy, you know the outcome of 1,000 battles.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even know ourselves, but at least we understand the enemy a
Right.
little bit because the enemy has shown us their
Right.
colors for over 500 years,
Yeah.
and we are so ill prepared, unprepared, not ready for this conversation. So
Right.
talking about reparations on the state of Africa, I'm not talking on the state of Black diaspora,
Yeah.
which I have
Of course.
absolutely no
Yeah.
information about.
Yeah.
I think we are not even ready to have that conversation. Secondly, Africa's problem is not money.
Mm-hmm.
If our problem was money, our presidents of, and I mean each and every African country, won't be driving 50 V8 cars that cost $100,000 each to go for a meeting and inaugurate a classroom. We have no problem. Africa
Okay.
has a lot of money, even as of now. So even if we are giving the
That is
money,
true.
trust me, the money will not get to Africa. The money will end somewhere in the Cayman Islands, or better, it is
Right.
still Dubai or some another
Right.
offshore country. So
Yeah.
reparations, yes. Now,
Mm-hmm.
no. Those are my two
When
cents.
though? Is I feel like if we talk about it right now, this is the time to talk about it because a lot of people don't really even understand the term reparation here in Africa, right? That is so true. They don't really even understand that. But if we just don't talk about it, how will they have this knowledge or understanding about what reparation is, about who they are as African people, about what their country, continent has, the power that Africa has as a nation? How will they understand that? Because there's so much distraction in regards to not knowing who we are, not knowing the power, the wisdom, the knowledge that we definitely naturally have, right? There's so much ignorance
Yeah.
to it. Was I ignorant a few years back? I definitely agree. I was. Am I at least better right now? Yes, and I'm learning better. It starts with that, right? And I feel like if we don't
Yeah.
talk about it right now, how will we define even the friends around us? How will we define even the people around us? It basically starts with that, lastly.
All right. I will agree with you about the conversation, but I will beg to
Okay.
disagree with about where the conversation starts.
Right.
You don't even have to seek for reparations, right?
Okay.
You don't seek for reparations. You seek for power. With
Okay.
power comes everything. Okay? If,
Right.
like I say, being an analogy, if I owed you money and I'm much stronger than you,
Yeah.
I'm not bothered about paying you. If you owe the gangster, like, let's think about it. If you owe the gangster, someone in your city you know is capable of evil and willing to do
Yeah.
evil, can you owe them?
Yeah.
No, you cannot owe them. Even back in school,
Mm,
you wouldn't owe the bully.
yeah.
You wouldn't owe the bully in school because you knew the bully is capable and
Hmm.
willing to get whatever he wants back from you and in abundant amounts.
Yeah.
But if the bully took something from you, you couldn't take it back. And you can
Hmm.
go and bring all the dynamics, but the world, it's what it is. The world operates on power.
Hmm.
So do we start the conversation from there? No. Should we have this
Okay.
conversation? Yes, but I think this is reparations is the advanced set of the first and only thing we have to fight for, first of all,
Hmm.
is decolonization.
Okay. Okay.
That's where it starts from. Once you decolonize people and they start understanding who they wouldn't even have to fight for reparations.
Right.
Like, trust me, the amount of resources and potential Africa has, the least thing we can
Hmm.
even be looking for is reparations. How much would they give us back? 10, 20 billion? Like, I'll literally get that from Congo in a day if
Right.
I knew what I had, right? So I think we need
Right.
to start a conversation from decolonization, and decolonization
Okay.
not only in terms of the government, decolonization of the mind. Who are you? Who are we?
Yeah.
What
Thank
do we
you.
learn in school? What
Yes.
movies do we watch? Who are
Yeah.
our heroes? Right?
That
Who do
is
we
true.
pray to? Who do we pray to? Who do we look to in
Hmm.
times of problems? This is the
Yeah.
conversations we should be having. Reparations
Hmm.
is a far conversation. Like I said, maybe the black community in the diaspora is ready for
Yeah.
this conversation, which I doubt,
Yeah.
but don't quote me on it.
Yeah.
But Africa is not even ready. We need to start from decolonization. Decolonization. From decolonization comes to re-education, which means breaking down the syllabus we have
Mm-hmm.
in school, teaching what it means to be African, what it takes to be African, being proud as black, and until the day we come to the day we start seeing ourselves as people before we can even think of becoming people who can negotiate power. And once we negotiate power, then we can talk about reparations,
Right.
right? So for me, it's a great conversation to have, but for me, it's one of those kumbaya conversations, like I always say. It's one of those buzzwords that actually do nothing to the continent. The most important thing is to decolonize Africa in terms of our education, in terms
Right.
of our religion, most importantly, in terms
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
the way we see ourselves. The notion, like I said the last time, The notion that an African woman nowadays must wear the dead white man's hair to look pretty. Like, how do you even start
Right.
telling that kind of person they are worthy of anything? If they don't like the most basic thing on their body, their hair, how do you start having that conversation with you?
Okay.
Like, how can you even have that conversation with someone who looks at the opposing party as a god? Would you ever question God? No, you can't question God.
Right.
So yeah, we are very far from that conversation. But yeah, one day
Right.
maybe. But it's for
You're
now it's just
always
a
saying
buzzword.
one
One day
day.
maybe.
Yeah, really don't have any hopes for Africa right now. But I can see comments here on, yeah, you never have any hope, but it's gonna happen. I believe in you talking about this right now. It sets me bad, literally. Jiba is saying Bill Maher hates
Just
black
a
people
second.
unless he can. Okay. And then Cassius Williams, thank you so much for joining us this beautiful afternoon. Maha is a white supremacy. If you tell him about the Jewish community, he would lose his damn mind. A typical Zionist don't want black people to get reparation, and his community received. Yeah, even on the video, it was just basically off that topic. And I can see saying, yes, I hear the brother. And then he's saying, a money tuned. Okay. And also, I can see here Cassius Williams also saying, if welfare for only blacks, there would be none. Yeah, I kind of like maybe agree with you on that. Jipa says that if welfare was for only blacks, there would be none. Cassius Williams also say black American slaves' descendants are owed reparations. Belgium owes Congo reparation, and England owes Africa. I agree with him on this. Cassius Williams, Black American slaves descendants are owed reparation. Belgium owes Congo. That is so true. Reparation. Then England owes Africa reparation. Jiba is saying the Muzungu is a thief and a liar. It's task there. I think when you're talking about decolonization, Cassius Williams says that stay on your square and keep pushing the issue of reparations. That's what he said. And I think I have a new comment saying, you need to study the Negro question. Alrighty, Jiba. I'll definitely study on that. And thank you so much for joining us here on this conversation. I can see Spikes54 saying, Mr. Moneyvated is speaking some truth. Hey, you're going to share a video in regards to, Dr. Arikana, right? I love her.
Yeah, I do. I do love it
Yeah.
too.
So she's talking about Africa unity. I'm gone. Okay, Jiba, thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate your presence. And you're going to talk about, I'm going to put a video of Dr. Arikane talking about the unity. I love her strength and enthusiasm, her passion. The whole podcast is just like, tomorrow Africa is going to be a different continent. We should be like that, Leslie. We should not say like one day. We should be like Dr.
Okay.
Arikane. Her hope is out of this world.
Okay.
Like her
Okay.
enthusiasm.
Okay. Okay.
Uh-huh.
There is wishful thinking and there's reality.
Okay.
I always say I choose to stick on what is real
Yeah.
and not what I wish to be real.
Okay.
Because data doesn't care about your feelings, about your enthusiasm, about a topic.
Okay. Right.
Data's like Jay-Z said, numbers don't lie. Right? Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's someone I really look up to. I really like a lot of her work.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but at the same time, I also do think there is a lot of truth to what she's saying, but there is also a lot of
Mm-hmm.
things which are not deep seated in the African reality. Like I said, it could be deep seated in
Okay.
the African diaspora reality.
Right.
In the African diaspora reality, it could be, but in this Africa where I am, I don't see a lot of that happen. I'd rather choose to seek and understand an African Pan-Africanist view from the lenses of people like Kwame Nkrumah, people who understood
Okay.
what full independence is from the ground.
Okay.
People who understand what the continent truly needs from the ground.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need we don't need no reparations. We don't.
Okay.
We really don't. We really don't. Like choose choose between owning the gold mines in South Africa, the diamond mines in Botswana, or controlling the gold that
Mm-hmm.
comes from Cameroon or Gabon, or some lousy $20 billion to be given to you. What are you gonna choose?
Right.
Like you talk that money to me, it makes no sense.
Hmm.
Because there is a bigger fish to fry.
I
We
hear
are
you.
focusing on small fish. There is a bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
Like we are spending so much time on the things that don't even matter in the grand scale of things. Like just in
Okay.
the Congo, how much resources do we have buried
Mm-hmm.
underground?
Right.
What amount of reparations can even give us that money? Like even if you owe me that, like
Right.
it's like you saying you owe me $1, you owe me $1,
Mm-hmm.
and I have the and I can be paid $1,000 for an hour, but I spend an hour trying to
Right.
get that dollar from you and not going to work.
Right. Right.
That is so. I think it's a great conversation to have. I think first of all,
Mm-hmm.
even if we have a lot of money, they should pay us back. At least it's gonna give us some feel good about it. We're gonna realize like these
Yeah.
people realize what they did was very wrong. But I don't think it's what we
Mm-hmm.
should be focusing us at this moment. At this moment,
Okay.
yeah,
Right. Well, definitely,
yeah.
definitely hear you. And it's so amazing that what's happening in Congo right now. Like nobody's really talking about it. We've been divided to what's happening, um, maybe in the West, or maybe what is happening in Gaza right now. And it's just there's a lot happening in Congo. Like is it like 1 week ago on a Sunday? There was a loot happening at the palace, and it was not really talked about because, as you talked about, like the what is really found, the minerals that found in Congo, it's out of this world. And I can see here Mr. Kejan Williams saying in November, American politics will determine if the party black people supported are going to show it in are going to show it are anti-black and anti-reparation. Okay, I think that's what it takes in regards to this year in November. They'll show maybe there's gonna be um black people are supporting reparation or they're anti. I'm kind of not following that, Mr. Kajan Williams, but thank you so much for that comment. I'm gonna share a video of Dr. Ari Kanner in regards to what she's saying, talking about Africa being united. If that's okay with you, Leslie.
Please do.
Okay. And thank you guys for joining us here on TikTok. Thank you, Shmani, for joining us here.
Hey, call me Louis. This is my spot.
And network is a bit. We're getting there.
Let's take you back to Africa. Prior to the children of Africa being taken out of Africa as slaves, and even after they were taken out of Africa as slaves, the instructions that the missionaries were given in terms of how to deal with the African. Remember, when they came to Africa, they found very resistant people, very well-established religious, educational systems, people who were so strong that they didn't know how they could conquer Africa unless they addressed the issues of Africa from the core. So they set out a process of letting us believe that everything to do with Black and African was bad, and everything to do with white was better. White and European was better. We have to understand that. The missionaries were given instructions on how to instruct us and how to control our minds. They were told to teach us how to.
I think it's everything you're talking about right now. Lastly, you talked about first. Let's talk about decolonization, and that's where it all starts. Understanding who we are, and what we are, and that's what she's basically voicing out in regards to what you said earlier.
Read, but not to reason. It was a systematic process, specific instructions on how to handle a Black person in order to get them where they wanted us to be.
Sorry about the network, guys, but we'll just do
specific instructions on
a 5-10 minute video, and we're gonna get back into it.
On how to handle a Black person in order to get them where they wanted us to be. They used the same process with the slaves on the plantations, where they began this process of divide and conquer, lighter-skinned people versus darker-skinned people, the straighter your nose versus the flatter your nose, thin lips versus thick lips. It was a process that we have been put through. We have been trained to self-hate. I use the example of religion, and I use an example of myself growing up in Zimbabwe. The British did until 1896. Prior to their coming, we did not know of white color or black color. We were Africans. We were African. But the missionaries came in and they told us about Christianity. They told us about Jesus Christ. They told us about the angels who were white and the devil who was black. Then they turn around and say, the angels are told us about the angels who were white and the devil who was black. Then they turn around and say, the angels are desirable. They do the wonderful things. We must aspire to be like them. And they said, oh, by the way, we may not look like this white sheet of paper. Besides, remember, they introduced the color white and the color black. We didn't have that. So we know how black looks like. We know how white looks like. But they turn around and say, the angels are white and we are white too. Never mind how we look. We may not look like this piece of paper, but believe we are white and we represent the angels. And you're black. You may not look like this cover of my phone, which is black, but you represent the devil. The devil is black. The devil is evil. We all must run away from the devil. You don't want to represent the devil. Oh, by the way, you may not look like this black piece of paper, but you're black too. Then now let's go to church. And we kneel down in front of the white angels, in front of white Jesus, who we know very well Jesus Christ was white. Even their own Bible tells us he had crimson skin. We know for a fact that when Mary and Joseph were running away from King Herod, they were told to go to Egypt. Why? Because in Egypt, Jesus Christ would blend with those who look more as white. They would have told them to run to Europe. So we have all these obvious lies that we have been told. We have knelt and worshipped white Jesus and white angels and denied that which they told us represented us. So they systematically put us through a process of self-hate. It is not by surprise that we hate ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We don't like each other. We don't trust each other. Understand that this has been a systematic process of criminalizing blackness, of teaching us and training us to hate everything that looks like us, and educating that the more we look closer to what white people do, the better off we are. So we spend the rest of our lives and the lives of our children and the lives of generations to come, if we do not do something about it, hating ourselves, teaching our children to hate ourselves. We are a sick people. Let's face it. We need healing. We have been so brainwashed to hate ourselves. We have been so brainwashed to the point that even the obvious lies, we hear them, we know their lies, but we can't get ourselves to unbelieve. I believe in Jesus Christ. What I have problems with is what they have done with the name of Jesus Christ. Abused his name, misrepresented his name. Religion, they have used it as an...
Yes, Leslie?
No, I was just objecting on something. I think it's kind of funny when a black man says they believe in Jesus Christ.
Okay.
And at the same time, we want freedom of Africa. It's just it's just, how do you call it, tautology. That's the word of it. Being redundant in the thinking. When you believe in Jesus Christ, in what framework was Jesus Christ
You're
created? In
cutting
what
off.
book? Oh, can you hear me?
I
Is it
can
good
hear you,
now?
but you're cutting off. Yeah, good.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Maybe my internet went laggy for a minute. Sorry about that. Am I cutting off now? Am I good?
You're good.
Oh, so yeah, I was saying I grew up. I don't know. I had this conversation maybe with you, and I told you I grew up being a child pastor, with my
Mm-hmm.
mom preaching
Yeah.
to me and then telling me how much Jesus was my everything, and Jesus is the answer for questions I did not even ask.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, I grew up in it, and what I'm trying to say is everything she said for me is very, very correct to the point where she said she believes in Jesus Christ. And then my next question would have been to find Jesus. And then you get the new argument of, oh, Jesus was from Ethiopia, and then Jesus was from whatever. Who brought Jesus to us? What happened to Natum of whom? What happened to the god of Jakiri? What happened to the Yoruba god? What happened to the Igbo god?
Mm-hmm.
What happened to them? All of a sudden, a shepherd from the Middle East has come over to Africa to save us. So for me, like once, like I don't know, I say it and then, but I always like being truthful. Whenever someone just has this conversation about being African and then goes and bring the biggest problem in Africa, the biggest problem in
Mm-hmm.
Africa, I've said it and I'll say it again, is religion. And it's not the religion of any other religion, but the Abrahamic religions. And the Abrahamic religions are two things: Jesus and Mohammed. It's two of them.
Mm-hmm.
The two people we're talking about. When you go bring that thing and then at the same time you're trying to converse, like it's like me trying to explain to a European how they can believe they're truly European, but at the same time they serve the Yoruba God, or they serve the
Mm-hmm.
Igbo God, or the Kikuyu God, or whatever God came from the Bantu religions. What happened to all of that? Like that in itself is a first problem. Religion is the best form of brainwashing. Because with bookwork there is an option, with religion there is no option. With religion, this is the outcome. Religion is the outcome. Education is an option. Because with religion,
Okay.
if I do this, I will end here. With education, we know we may go to school, but we may not end somewhere. It's different things. And
Mm-hmm.
then, it conditions your thinking into a straight path. And what is that path? The path we have our problems. Our riches are stored in heaven. So it's okay to live in Kibera while praying. It's okay for me to take 3 days out of my week instead of looking for economic finance. I go and cry to the Jewish God. It's okay for me to take away, to declare public holidays on what would have been a very vibrant economic day because there is a Jewish God who supposedly died some 2,000 years ago. As I hear say, because nobody has historical data to back it up. So for me, for being African, like when you say the first thing we have to tackle, why you see I have not hope, is religion. You understand? The
All
first thing
right.
we have to tackle is religion.
Right.
And even ask me, oh Leslie, do you have use cases for this? Yes, I have a lot. Look at the Japanese. What God do they serve? Look at the Chinese. What God do they serve? None. All atheistic religions, all atheistic countries making developments because they have released themselves from the chokehold of the white man's God. The white man's God will never bring freedom to Africa. The white man's God, I repeat again, the white man's God will never bring freedom to Africa. The white man's God, the white man's God was designed for one purpose only. One purpose only. He was designed to enslave and torture and suffer the black man. That is what the white man's God is for. One of the first ships that ever come to Africa was named the ship of Jesus. I don't know if you know that.
Come again.
They knew.
You're
I said
cutting
one of the
off
flesh
in one.
ships. One of the flesh. Well, can you get me now? Can you get me
I'm
now?
losing you, Leslie. No.
Can
You
you?
said one of the?
Oh man, one of the biggest slave ships that ever made multiple sales to Africa was called Jesus. I mean, literally, the name of the ship was called Jesus.
You talking
Sheep.
about
A sheep.
you talking about the slave
Sheep.
ship? The slave
Yes,
ship. The slave ship called the good ship Jesus. Yeah,
Jesus.
Okay. Okay.
yeah. Talking about the slave ship called the good ship Jesus. There was never any Jesus. Okay, let's make sure we understand this. It's not the Middle East. It was that's Northeast Africa. There's no such place as the Middle East. That's some shit they made up when they conquered. When they got to conquer, the white man wanted to take it out of Africa and call it. There's no middle from what? Where's the middle north? Where's the middle west? Where's the middle south? There's no such place. That's Northeast Africa. It's always been known as Northeast Africa. Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, all that shit sits on the African plate. It's Northeast Africa, as it's been known through history, except for 100 years ago when the British took it away from the Ottoman Turks and gave it to these other fake individuals there. They call themselves Arabs today. They're not even Arabs. The Turkmen from the Turks, or they mixed Turks and African. That's what they are. But the original Arabs are African as well. Arab is not a race. It was a culture. But through that, they changed everything. But there was never any Jesus. Okay, no historical Jesus ever existed. Not a shepherd. Not a nothing. And I'm not saying that.
Thank you.
Never
Thank
existed.
you.
So,
Thank you.
So the reason why they made him white from the beginning, because that's what. Listen, that's what they were giving Constantine, the Emperor Rome, wanted to make a religion for white people that he could conquer because their religions were dying. The Roman religion called Romulus and Remus and Venus, that shit was dying. So he said, let me go back and see what the Greeks had that they got from the Africans that worked, that can unite my kingdom and control the minds. So he said, okay, this Serapis shit, this Serapis shit they had is pretty good. Serapis crystals, but I need some writing to go along with this. So that's why he held a conference in 324 AD, and that's when they start creating your religion called Christianity. Did not exist. See, Christians always get mad because they don't know any history. I show you that these conferences, that's where they started doing this, creating this diversity, was because they had them come from Osiris and Apis. And they was like, well, damn, how can it be a white man? Osiris is African. How can we do that? So this is the first argument. So how can they say, well, what is he? Is he a man? Is he a God man? Go back. That's what I say. Christians don't know shit because they do not read anything. They just keep reading this goopy Bible and don't read the history of religion, and they read the fake King James version. King James version is the most wickedest version because he wanted to change the versions from the Geneva one. He said, well, hey, I need this thing to say, because I'm in the slavery now. I gotta say slavery is good and slaves love your masters and all. They don't go back and even research the version of the Bible they're even reading. Who King James even was, this wicked ass homosexual pedophile. When you say, what? That's the historical, that's what he was. Don't get mad at me for teaching you who he was. These are historical facts. So a homosexual pedophile was responsible for reading your King James version. That's what King James was. Reason why he authorized that version, because now the British were in the slave trade. And they need to justify their brutality and slavery. But you can't get a Christian to go through and they say, oh, that's true. Yeah, it's true. I made the Bible for you, moron, so I can control your mind. And so the idea that you have anybody white at this time, Leslie, in Northeast Africa, those people there today were not there 2,000 years ago. Okay, let's get history right. People you see up in Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Egypt, which is now called Egypt, called Kemet, what Saudi Arabia was called Saudi Arabia, and all that area right there. Those are all Africans. Africans controlled all the way up to what you call Iran, Iraq. Those are all African nations, not the white people you see today. So even if he did exist, he couldn't have been, but she's just saying, if he did exist, he couldn't have been a white man. Okay, I give you, say he won't exist, okay, whatever. But he couldn't have been white. There was no white people historically in Northeast Africa at that time. Those lands were still controlled by the African. The Arabs don't invade Africa until the 7th century AD. Okay? 600 years after Jesus died. That's when these people you see there today got there. So they have no attachment to any part. So when they scream right now about the fake Palestinians today, oh, the Israelis are killing the Palestinians. Even those Palestinians are fake. The Africans who they stole the land from were still there. You just never seen them. I'm sure they've murdered now, but you never seen them. They're still there. And they were called what? Abib. Abib means slave. So the original Palestinians who were still there today, the fake Arab Palestinians were calling those Africans Abib and put them in a part of Palestine called Abib town, slave town, because they think of Africans as slaves. This little history you don't know. Oh, the Palestinians are being killed. We don't support genocide as African people, but I don't give a shit because the true Africans that were left were still there. A lot of those Africans end up leaving that area, going to Cameroon, Nigeria, Mali, Ghana, coming out of that area. That was called the Great Migration of Africans coming after as they were getting conquered by these Arabs and Romans. A lot of them just left and went to West Africa. That's why you find these. That's why you ask about Mansa Musa. What was it before he became before he converted to the other fake religion called Islam? He was mostly the fake religion called Judaism or Hebrewism coming out of that area. They all moved westward because they're being conquered by other people. So they went south, east, or just further south or further southwest because they were being conquered and those lands are being taken by them. So what you see today are imposters. There's no white Arab. These white people who call themselves Arab, they're not no Arabs. Oh, take down your thing for a minute. Let me share my screen. See if Google's gonna lie about it. See if we see what this is. Let's see if we get images of the original Arabs. See if Google's gonna show you the original Arabs. They damn sure ain't white. Okay, there we go. Black people. There we go. Okay. Let me share my screen real quick. These are your original Arabs. Understand what they do. They've had no cult. They come and assume your identity. You think a white man's an Arab. That's a lie. He came down and assumed African identity. Arab is an African culture, not a race of people. So the people that inhabit that area where these people were at here, let me know when you see my screen. These are the original Arabs, these Africans. The African people are your original Arabs, not the white people you see today. That's an Arab. That black man, that's an Arab. All these black people are your original Arabs. These are Arabs. These Africans are your original Arabs. Not these white people you see today calling themselves Arabs. They came down and assumed African identity. The original Arabs are African. It wasn't a damn race. It was a culture. But white people having no culture, as they invaded the area, they assumed that identity, like they always do. Now they're the original, these Jews you got there who are fake too, right? These fake Jews you got running around past them. We are the original Jews. They're not the original Jews. They're imposters again. The Africans, since you don't know any history, oh, these are the people of the Bible. Well, the Bible's a lie, and these people are made up, okay? Those people, I can't get my screen to go down. Those people are called Khazarians. They're from Khazar. Go look this up. Go research. These people are Khazarians. They're from this area. Let me see. Let me show you. Let me see. Empire. Let me see. Hold on. See if I can get this real quick. Images of the Empire of Khazar. Here we go. Here we go. Images. Okay, let me get back to this. Okay, these people converted. The people you see in Israel today calling themselves Jews when they're not. These are where they came from. They converted to this African religion in the 7th century. See, this is the Khazar. That's why they're fighting over Ukraine. They don't teach you that. They don't want you to know this. It's called the third. See, this is Khazar. These are these people you see now in Israel. Khazarian Empire right here. That was when you had the Byzantine. See, this the Roman Empire was never called Byzantium. This the back then. This was still the Khazarians. Was no none of these countries. Was no Ukraine. Was no Russia yet. These the burghers. So in history in that time, these people converted to what they call Judaism, but they created their own fake Judaism. So as you see, let me see right here. Sure, right here. See that? The Star of David. It's not even the Star of David. That's the Star of Moloch. No such thing as the Star of David. Never. These people worship the devil. So they took this fake star and now told the rest of the world it's the Star of David. It's a lie. These Khazarians are now the majority of. They're 95% of Jewry today. These are the motherfuckers that run the world. They own your banks. They own the IMF, the World Bank, American Bank. These ones that call themselves Khazars. You see the Star of David? They converted to Judaism. Now they say they're the Jews. They're not.
So they're not the Jews.
No. See right there. They converted. That's why you got Arthur Kessler telling how they said the 13th tribe, the Khazar Empire and its heritage, how they started, why he looks like a Jew. But they hid all this so they can, same way the Arabs say they're the Arabs now. Same way these white people say they're the Jews now. They're not.
Right.
They know they stole your history. You don't know nothing about it. You look in the Bible. The Bible's not history. It's a book of fables. So since you don't know history,
funny fables.
It's a book of fables. Since you don't know history, you refuse to learn history. This is history. This is history. Yeah. So I'll go to you and say, all those people are the people of God. They're the people of the book. They're the people of the book. Like, what? What are you talking about? So they laugh at you. You're an absolute moron. These Khazarians laugh at you. They know you. They call you these Africans are absolute morons. You're the people. Right. I go to Kenya or Nigeria today. Say, what are these Jews? Those are the people of the book, brother. They are the people of God.
Alrighty. Thank you, General Mosquito, for joining us. He's saying, every time I thought Leslie ran to Japan. And then he says, White Kate called
Leslie, don't get him a Japanese woman. They still give him $75,000, General Mosquito. It's not too late for him.
I'll go for 5. They can keep the 70.
Oh shit, they give him a deal. I give you a deal. I give you
He came up as Paula babe nimefika late. Hi. Okay. Hi. Thank you for joining us this beautiful afternoon. General Mosquito coming in late today, but thank you for joining us. Also, Mr. Blackout Fire.
I came late too. I just woke up. I heard Leslie talking about that.
Okay.
Listen, ain't no damn middle. That's made up.
Yeah, I'm sure. Right. I'm just showing. I was reacting to the video.
I know. I know you're talking about it's a shepherd from. Hey, a sheep is a dumb animal. So why would you have let somebody be your shepherd? You know what a shepherd is?
That's the same thing. That's the thing I'm saying. Whenever I hear someone says they want to be African at the same time they believe in Jesus, for me it's the funniest thing ever.
They got to get rid of that. Yeah,
it's the funniest thing ever.
You can't.
It
doesn't make sense. You got to free your African mind. You can't say you want to be a Christian and represent shit that wasn't true. Let me do this real quick. Let me see the council. Nice. Let me see.
Alrighty, as we are winding up this beautiful afternoon.
Let me see this real quick, airtime. When was the Council of Nicaea? Okay, there we go. Like I said, so it's 325. We go. Okay.
325. According to Britannica, First Council of Nicaea, 325, the first ecumenical council of the Christian Church, meeting in ancient Nicaea,
of the Christian Church,
Turkey. It was called by the Emperor Constantine I,
the Emperor Constantine I,
who presided over the opening session and took part in the discussions.
So this is history. Constantine I created Christianity. He said, and then he killed his wife and his son because he said, "Hey, I need you to accept the religion." They said, "We can't accept this made up shit you made up." So he murdered their ass. So right here, you got Constantine. Okay, they told you in Istanbul, they told you Constantinople, right? Okay, let me show this real quick. Okay, let me see.
Okay.
Hold on. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah. No.
You can't?
Yeah, we can see it right now.
It's the first council of Nicaea. Constantine, right? Like I told you, he was tired of the fake religions. It was breaking down. So it says the first ecumenical council of Christian church. It's the first time they're coming together, creating this thing called Christianity. This is 300 years after your Jesus supposedly died, okay? Because the religion didn't even exist. There's no Christian religion. This 300 years, they said, well, damn, let's see. We want them to live at this time, but what do we want them to be? Because they took this image right here. See here. Images of Serapis Christos, who's the Christ. All right. You took these images here. Let me know when you guys see my screen. See it?
Yeah. Yeah, we can.
See, Serapis Christ is Jesus Christ, yes. They took this shit here. This is history, I'm sorry. Took it from Africa, from Kemet. They gave you this bullshit here because Constantine said, hey, I like this Serapis. That's why you see the Serapis Christ. He said, I like this Serapis Christ shit. But how can we make stories around it, but update this bullshit? What can we do? I need to control the minds. So Serapis and Jesus, you see Serapis Christ became Jesus. So sure, Apis the bull, like I told you, and Osiris, the black god of Egypt, they became old Serapis becomes Jesus Christ. This fake cracker here. It's made of this cracker here never existed. I'm gonna make it hard. This cracker here is made up. He's made up right here in the Council of Nicaea. And the first church that you see was Constantine in Constantinople. So he makes the first church created by African artisans. Images of the Hagia Sophia. So since that was the seat of Rome, images, this is your first church created by after Constantine. This church here, this is the Hagia Sophia. But eventually the Turks got it, made it to a mosque and put these pillars up when they conquered that part of the Roman Empire, eastern part of the Roman Empire. This is the first church called the Hagia Sophia. It's Istanbul. Now they changed the name from Constantinople, Istanbul. They told you it was in Turkey, but this wasn't Turkey. Was no Turkey. It didn't exist. This was the Roman Empire called Byzantine Empire. So this beautiful church was built by Africans, not white people. They couldn't read or write. This church was built by the Africans because the religions came from Africa. Okay? The church was built by the Africans because they were making a religion. So this is your first Holy Roman church. It's not what you see in Rome. It was in Constantinople because that's where they were creating the religion. That was the seat of the empire in Constantinople, not in Rome. Even though it was still the Roman Empire, but Constantine had moved the capital there and named it after him. Since he was the emperor, he said, I'm going to make a new capital. I'm going to name it after me, Constantinople. And this is where the first Holy Roman Church is here, not the one where you see the Pope in today. The first popes were here because this is the beginning of Christianity. It's created. And his wife and his son refused to go. Say, hey, man, I can't. They said, no, we're not going to do that. So Constantine had a murder because he can't have his wife and his son reject his religion he made. So he had them killed. You can go look this up. This is history. But, it's not my fault that your religion is made up. But is there a creator? Yes. It's actually your African tradition tell you the creator is. Shout out to Terrence Howard running around on Joe Rogan show teaching you what it is. No such thing. The African is no such thing as death. The creator resides in you. That's what the Jesus was teaching you. African tradition. The creator resides in you. Anything outside yourself is a lie. You worship anything outside of you, Iraton. That's when they took the teachings of Africa, make this fake man. He's telling you your Bible. Ye are gods. Anything you can do, anything I can do, you can do. Because he wasn't never a person. He said, God resides inside. Okay? You're not supposed to be going to any church. Your body is the church. It's the temple of God, your body. As he told you, that's why they manipulate your teeth. That's why you eating the body and drinking blood. You don't eat no body and drink no blood. Are you crazy? That's satanic. Drinking blood and eating bodies. The creator resides, that lowers your vibration. Everything's vibration. The creator resides inside you, Iraton. You are part of the creator. Just why you go inside to find God. Anything outside of you is a lie. But that keeps control of your stupid ass. When you go the Allah and the Jesus shit, that keeps control. So you keep worshiping shit that ain't even real. So that, that keeps you in control. When God resides in you, that's what it means. That's what Christos. Christos is the lighting of your pineal gland. You have a pineal gland, Iraton. It's crystallized. Once you rise your vibration, the crystallization in you, you are the Christ. So let me do this real quick to show that this, before you get out, let me do this real quick. Let me show this real quick. Let me see see this notion of this being a Jesus, this Christ nonsense. Let me see, what is the 17? Who are the 17 Christs before Jesus Christ? The Africans were taking this. So if you see this, these are all the Christ before. Let me see. Not Christ, I said Christ. Christ. Who are the 17 Christ before Jesus Christ? Not Christus.
General Mosquito, thank you for joining us. He's saying to love yourself is to worship God because ye are gods. That is
exactly
true.
That's what they were saying. World 16, my fault. It was 16 of them. So this story been most. Let me show them. I'm gonna let you guys get out of here.
Yeah.
That's why they keep history away from you guys, from all of us African people. Because African, when you know their history, real history, you destroy their mystery, you destroy their lies. Okay. So there were 16 crucified saviors before Jesus. This story has been told over and over again. Said the many Christ and Messiahs that preceded Jesus. Most Christians don't know this. The story has been told over and over again. Coming from Serapis, but the same story, Iraton, has been told over and over again. So all Constantine did is say, I like this Jesus, I like this Christos shit. Let me make my own version. So it's saying Christianity before, so it's telling you the Christianity before Christ containing new, startling, and extraordinary revelations in religious history. That this story was told over and over and over again. So these are all your Christ right here. See all this? Coming from Africa first, because that's what it started. Okay, these stories come after. Then you got Krishna, India. You got whatever he is, this guy. But all the stories are the same. All these stories are the same. Okay, all these stories are all the same. You got Buddha. All these people were Christ, and the stories are all the same. They all died at 33. It's all the same shit. You got Rome, then it comes to Jesus. All these stories are all the same. It's crazy, but you never taught none of this. You think Jesus is the original Christ? Okay. All right, moron. Go ahead, Leslie. You got it.
Thank you so much for that, Casey. Have anything to say, Leslie, before we wind up?
No, I just want to say I think I've learned a lot from that, which is good. There are quite a lot of things I looked up while he was talking, and then he talked about the original Arabs, and then in me searching for the original Arabs, I found a picture of Jafar in Aladdin, and I noticed his face was painted black and his body was white, which is an interesting find. I've never noticed that till today. It's an interesting.
But they've stolen all your culture, Leslie. They've taken everything they tell you is a lie. The Arab is not a race of people. It was an African culture in that part of Northeast Africa. And so we call Abu Dhabi today, Dubai, the Emirates, the Bahrain, all that was African, all into Iran. The original Persians. These white people call themselves Persians. They're not. Africans are Persians. All the way up to Iraq. So you go back in the 6th and 7th century still, those were still African lands at that time. And that was no, so all of Iraq, all of Iran, what they call Persia today, those were Africans. And they still got those funny part. See how the white Iranians, these are all white people. All these white people came and stole history and changed it. You go to any Iranian, I was in Iran years ago, you go to museums, all the black Iranians are hidden. They hid all your history. Those are invaders. They're not. Let me do this real quick. Then we'll get out. Let me just show this one thing. Let me see.
Almost winding up. Keith, winding up right now.
Images of the people of it. Hold on. Let me see. Images of the people of Elam. Not Islam. Elam. Let me go here. They always want to. You can't even do it right with the Elam. So this is part of Iraq. Okay, these are your original Africans. A lot of stuff they're trying to hide in them. Let me see if I get the original Africans. Here we go. Exactly right here. These are this woman right here. This is your original Iranians, not the motherfuckers you see up there today. And then now they hiding all this because they know you Africans are waking up and doing research. This is your original. This is your original Iranian. This woman here. Not these people down, these white people now. Now they show these white people now. Is it original people of Elam, which is Iran. They show this fake white man, the Egyptian, all these fake white people. This is the original person of Elam, which is now Iran. Okay? Which is right this year, Iran. That's right. The African people, which is still there today, these are your original people right there. These Africans are your original. That's still there today. Elam. These are your original people. The Africans, okay? Not the people you see there today. These are your originals. These people, not these white people. But anyway, they take your history, they change it, and they claim to be you now. Even original Chinese are African. Ooh, you know that? And these Chinese bastards are not the originals. The African is. But we'll do that as a story for a different day. Japan, China, all African, all of it.
Right.
I want you to know that.
Thank you so much for that.
Look, much love, man. I gotta get my ass out of here. I gotta get my ass down to Miami. I gotta get down to Miami.
Thank you for that information. It's appreciated.
You're gonna drive me down to Miami every time.
Sorry?
You're gonna drive me down. And you're gonna do me a favor and drive me down to Miami. I gotta be in Miami tomorrow morning. You gonna drive me to Miami?
Heading off.
Huh?
What'd you say again?
I said, are you gonna do me a favor? Or are you gonna drive me to Miami? I gotta be in Miami tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're gonna drive me to Miami.
You're going driving to Miami.
I gotta go to Miami. Will you drive me to Miami, Irita?
Oh, sure. But I'm here now.
All right, cool. All right. Yeah, I'll make you drive me to Miami.
All righty. Leslie, thank you so much for joining in this conversation, Africans and Unity. And you said that it basically starts with decolonizing our mind. That's a very good start. And also and then from there we can start talking about reparations in Africa. But I always appreciate your time. Any last words before we wind up?
Yeah, he's a wise brother. Hopefully Leslie can open the minds of the people in Kenya. It's a hard thing. It's a hard thing in Africa. I'm telling you, I've been out in Africa. I'm like, wow, this colonialization is real.
It's an impossible thing.
It's not impossible. We start slow.
It is. Religion.
It's not
religion is not living.
Yeah, religion is. I know it's deep. I know it's deep. I know. But the youth are starting to reject that shit. Leave the old people alone. Focus on the youth. youth are starting to know that this is
Thank
not.
you guys for joining us on TikTok. We really appreciate you. Join us same time here on Wednesday with a good conversation about redefining Africa and redefining Africans. Thank you so much and have a
Remember,
beautiful
Christ
afternoon.
resides inside
Here
you.
with
You are the
with
Christ.
Iraton.
Remember, Iraton,
Yeah.
you are the
Thank you
Christ.
for having me.
Not some,
Bye-bye.
Yes, Keith.
not some made up,
Bye-bye.
not some made up cracker.
Okay.
Much love,
I am
man.
the beginning and the end.
Yes. How about that? Scares you, huh? Learning scares the shit. I know it scares the hell out of you knowing that. I know you're scared every time. It's okay.